everyone, my name is Sarah, I'm one half of the YA Room, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 spooky reads of all time. I have read a lot of spooky Halloween kind of books in my life because I love everything creepy and dark, so if you're looking for more books to add to your Halloween TBR, I definitely recommend checking out these ones. The first book that I have to recommend is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. Of course, I was going to pick this one first. I love Queen V. Oh, she is such an amazing writer. I love everything she writes, and of course City of Ghosts was no exception. I knew I was going to adore this book the moment she announced it. Not only is it written by Queen V, but it has ghosts and it's kind of like a Stranger Thing vibe crossed with BuzzFeed Unsolved, one of my favorite things of all time. And I mean, there's a cat on the front cover, what's not to love? Oh, and it's set in Edinburgh, in Scotland. I just knew I was going to love this book the very first time I lay eyes on it, and I was not let down. City of Ghosts follows the life of Cass, who is someone who can wander between our world, the living world, and go through the veil into where all the ghosts and spirits live. She has a best friend called Jacob who is a ghost, and their banter is so hilarious. Oh my god, I love them. And her parents are like supernatural investigators. Her mom is really into like ghosts and the supernatural, and her dad is more of a historian, and they write books together. And then one day her parents' books are optioned for TV, and she gets whisked away into Edinburgh in Scotland to discover more about the supernatural. But of course, Edinburgh is a city of ghosts, and she finds that some of them are not as nice as her best friend Jacob is. She discovers a more sinister undertone to Edinburgh, and it is such a delightfully dark and creepy story that has like that humor scattered throughout, and it is just the perfect middle grade read. Even though it is a middle grade read, I'm sure that audiences of all ages will love it. I mean, I did. If you're a fan of Victoria Schwab, this one is a must read. It was just like so good. I absolutely flew through this one. I've read it twice so far. I was meant to be saving it for Halloween, but the moment I received this in the mail, of course I couldn't resist starting it. So yes, definitely my top pick if you're looking for a book to read on Halloween. The next book I have is Gap Year in Ghost Town by Michael Pryor. This is kind of similar to City of Ghosts in that it takes place in a city and there are ghosts, except for this one is set in Melbourne. And again, Gap Year in Ghost Town has that humor that I loved about City of Ghosts. Gap Year in Ghost Town is about this boy called Anton whose family has like this ghost hunting business, and then he meets a girl called Rainey who has a completely different approach to ghost hunting. They don't quite see eye to eye at first, but then they're forced to work together to kind of make sure that ghosts don't take over the world. Gap Year in Ghost Town is such a funny read. Oh my god, I loved all the Melbourne references and the talk about coffee and the family relationships and the friendships between these two. If you love ghost books and you want to pick up one that is Loveless YA, I cannot recommend Gap Year in Ghost Town enough. The next book I have to recommend is Beautiful Malice by Rebecca James. This is one of the first psychological thrillers I ever read, and it has such a special place in my heart. Beautiful Malice is a Loveless YA novel about this kind of dark, sinister friendship between these two people that emerges from a game of truth or dare. It is just so dark and so twisted. I can't say any more without spoiling it, but trust me, this is a book that will take you on one heck of a roller coaster ride and you won't be able to put it down. Beautiful Malice is about this girl called Alice who is supposedly the life of the party, but there is a darker side to her, and that was like so cool to see how that all played out and how we slowly got to learn more about her and her past, and I'm like getting shivers right now just thinking about it. This is one of the first books that kept me up past midnight, and I will love it forever for that fact. It shaped me into the Halloween loving person I am today. The second to last recommendation I have today is the Stalking Jack the Ripper, Hunting Prince Dracula, that particular series, all of the books. I know I'm kind of cheating here recommending a series, but seriously, you've got to trust me because this series is so good. Stalking Jack the Ripper introduces us to Audrey Rose, who investigates crime and does postmortems, and she is like my badass queen. This series is set like in the 1800s, I believe, so back in the day. I know that typically I'm not a fan of historical fiction, but this series is so well written and just the ambience really comes across in the storytelling, and this series will like captivate you from the very first page. Then Hunting Prince Dracula takes us across into Europe into a new location with more crime, where Audrey Rose and her swoon-worthy friend slash maybe romance, Thomas, they have to solve these crimes together, and it is just so much fun to read about. Not to mention swoon-worthy, oh my god. This series is one of my favorites of all time. I absolutely loved it. If you're a fan of audiobooks, it's also amazing on audio. So yes, I definitely recommend this one. And finally, my last spooky Halloween recommendation is of course This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This Savage Song takes place in a kind of futuristic world where killing people or creating mass destruction creates monsters. It's a really interesting concept, and it follows the life of August, who was a monster who has to like kill people through music to stay alive. And it also follows the life of Kate Harker, who is a human who is trying to please her father, who is like the king of trying to get rid of all the monsters. It is such a thrilling read. I could not put this one down. Oh my god, I have so much love and respect for these characters. The world was just so alluring and captivating, and I just have nothing but high praise for this book. This Savage Song is one of my favorite novels of all time, and it was also the first book by Victoria Schwab I ever read, so it holds a very special place in my heart. But ultimately, if you love everything dark and monstrous, this is a book you have to read. So yes, these are my top 5 recommendations for spooky reads for Halloween. If you haven't read any of these, I definitely recommend checking them out for the Spooktober season. I love them so much. I have nothing but high praise for these. And they're just like such great reads that they will keep you up at night. They will freak you out, but if you think you can handle that, you're definitely making the right choice by picking them up. But that is it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. What are some of your favorite spooky reads? Have you read any of the ones I've recommended? I would love to hear your thoughts. See you next time. Bye everyone!